Hello and welcome to this month's edition of Spotlight. This month we'll be taking a bit of a deep dive with our England under-18 girls coach Brett Holland. Bags of experience Brett has in university, high performance, international junior coaching. He's also worked with us as a coach developer in the past. Really interesting discussion, this one, about what we can do for our brightest and best. And we'd love you to join us in coach conversations, which are bookable on the Hockey Hub. We're going to be talking about individual success versus team performance. And don't forget, you coach members, you can also enjoy an extended 30-minute Q&A with Brett and my colleagues Ian and Steph. And we really look forward to seeing you on the next one.
We were thinking about, because there were so many things that we could have talked to you about, but we were thinking, because we're in a camp with one of the age groups, is looking at the development of the individual versus team success. I think something that all of us have had experience with at lots of different levels of coaching.
There's always going to be a balance, right? So I don't think in this space, we can call it talent development, call it whatever you kind of want to call it. I don't think you're ever at one extreme or the other, or you're not there for very long for sure. And if it is just win at all costs, you're missing out on loads of other stuff. And it is just individual development, you're missing out on all this kind of stuff as well. So over the course of the programme, we'll flex where that priority is and where we spend, or what intervention we put in place that kind of favour one or the other. Towards the end of the programme, we do start to nudge the dial a little bit towards, okay, how do we perform? How do we execute the things we're going after? When we go into a competition at the end, there's more emphasis on winning. We will never get to the point where it's win at all costs. We're going to rip this up and this, and you're going to do something like not different necessarily, but do something that's just kind of against everything we worked on at that point. Yeah. And we definitely want to sit more towards the individual development and how do we develop individuals within the team. At this stage, we're still really learning about the players and how they can perform, what we need to do to help them, support them. And we've got a few mechanisms in place that help us with that, which maybe we'll come to in a second. Okay. Do you want to reward that or put something on it for this set? Second. Go on, say it. Okay, you got 90 seconds.
Yeah, 2.2. And they aim to hit 6 again.
Okay, fine. 10 points is our target. Happy with that? Any negative points in there? Okay. Individually, if you don't think that's good enough, you say negative point and take off the score. See if we get a bit of ownership in there. Okay. Rob, how good you counting? Various things, really. So even though this is a kind of generic shooting practice, there's some players that probably benefit from this a little bit more, so a bit more position specific. So they're the ones you're probably just targeting that feedback at a little bit more. So the ones that are more likely to arrive later in the circle, trying to give them the feedback that's more relevant to them. That even though this is a goal shooting practice, actually hitting is a bit of a theme for us. So actually the hitting mechanics is really important, and chance to practice that and give some feedback back on that as well. The girls also knew this was coming, so a lot of them would come in with some their own thoughts and ideas on what they're trying to go after as well. My preference, my bias would always be probably skewed towards that individual development a little bit more. And you can look at it and go, if your individual players are performing and confident and doing the things that they can do and you want them to do, we're probably going to get more team success as well. The risk is if you fly it all the way down to that end, are you getting the team success as well? There probably needs to be a little bit of actually the team performing well. I guess if you position the England age group, yes, you want to be competitive, yes, you want to win competitions, and actually winning things at junior levels is a good experience to have as you move into the senior ranks. Obviously, Mr. Ian Stone here has been there all the way to the top, and actually I'm sure when you once up at junior level, it does prepare you for winning a senior level. Did you go to a Joe Hoare or EDP trips and that kind of stuff?
No, I didn't do any EDP actually, because I was sort of transitioning between countries at the time. But yeah, I completely agree, because often we talk about individual development as stretching and moving players up age groups, moving players, and actually, that will be appropriate at times, but other times it's actually quite valuable for them to be the best player, for them to have that responsibility of the team is relying on you to try to win, and that there's definitely a valuable lesson in that. So certainly, when I was growing up, it was essentially just trying to get the hockey depth of that player, like what ratio of your hockey do you want to be the best player with a lot of responsibility? How much do you want to be we're playing with older players, playing with adults, and it's a really difficult balance to achieve for a lot of players.
It was more just curious about from your experience, I think, because it was a conversation that we had where that was interesting. We were actually stopping to really focus on a technique. I think it was when we were doing this at the turn and hit, and they weren't nailing it. It wasn't there. And actually, would you just say, this is an elite camp, you should be nailing it?
The ways in which you can try and shoot and hit in this practice are very similar to the WhatsApp videos you got in the week. So the first one's going to be really simple: carry hard, top circle, hit really hard at the goal. And we can talk about some of the technical bits on that in a second. Once you've hit, you're then going to lead to the baseline, the T spot, and then you receive a ball that's going to come from Bella. You're then going to lead top circle, Bella, and I'm going to do the demo and pass the ball back to you. So that pull back, receive, hit. And then finally, the third ball is going to be a carry to the shoulder, turn, rotate round, hit at the goal, which will be from you. First two shots are just shots at the goal, no rebounds. The third ball, Nina, is going to be rebounds with the two people that have done the shots coming in. Walk it through, talk it through, and it'll make sense. So I'm going to start the ball, Bella. I'm going to do a little bounce pass to me to you. Just going to go bounce pass in, few steps forward, receive across my body here, and then I'm going to run really hard at the goal. Make me look good, Nina. Into the goal. I'm then going to run around here as fast as I can, get on my forehand, here, carry a few steps in, then fire it back to Bella to shoot, low and hard at the goal.
Yeah, so if you think about how we might set up a year within the England age group, we definitely periodise our year, and the tactical element just increases as we go through the cycle. We definitely prioritise kind of what we class as the fundamentals of the game, and the real solid fundamentals that if we don't have or are not really successful at, we probably then won't be able to compete internationally. So that's a real big block of our work. We then use our principles, our DNA in terms of how we want to play, and then that then links to the fundamentals, the highest good actions we go after. So in particular, our ability to scan and then pre-plan is really, really important, and we'll pick up on players regularly around that. We share clips on our group WhatsApp group, our players who scan regularly and how they then move into certain positions. We'll give them kind of clues and hints around where good position might be, but also give them license to then stand where they think they need to stand to execute wherever they need to execute next. And that pre-planning back is really important. So what am I likely to do next? Where do I need to stand? Where do I need to receive the ball? And all those kind of things. It doesn't mean it's like A to B to C. It might be like, oh, dummy to go there because I'm going to come in here and bits and pieces like that. But yeah, scanning and pre-planning is really important. Quality in possession play. So if I receive the ball slightly behind my stance on my backhand, whatever I was planning to do probably now isn't on because the pressure and the time is going to be too great. So receive a really good quality ball to where you want to receive it and then play your next action. Again, our possession play is just critical. If we get beaten at any point in our 1v1, giving a team an overload, especially against the top teams, is probably going to result in 25 entry, probably circle entry, maybe even a shot from one missed defensive action. So that's really, really important.
More around what we're doing inside the circle, where we're positioning, what our body's like, and importantly, what that ball should be as we deliver it in for them to score. Talk to me really quickly about this area. What's really important we do in this 2v1? Perfect. So we want to make sure we receive. So we've got both probably the back options where you receive it from and the line option. What about the person on the ball? Come on, G. Perfect. And what we saw in the last couple is that direct ball straight centre forward. If that is on, do we want to give it? Most time, definitely. Okay. If the defender covers this space and there's carried space in here, we want to take the opportunity to carry. Even though we've got the high forward and we're crossing the line like Bella did, what do we want to do? Shoot. We don't get opportunity to shoot in the game often enough. We need to take it. How are we shooting that ball? Low, hard and flat to score and pick up really good rebounds and deflections. Happy? Cool. Back into it again.
If you take a rung down from age group stuff, this really resonates with me in some of the environments that I'm working in, like school, club, and then you've got players that are involved in TA, they're playing adult hockey. So there's 4 environments there with sometimes a real lack of cohesion. I feel quite fortunate in my space because I'm in the school and in the club with some of my players. So I kind of have a bit of an oversight of what's a heavy week, what's a lighter week. and also where those players are being pushed and pulled in those different directions. And I think it's sometimes we underestimate the challenge that is actually on the individual player to navigate that as a junior, of actually navigating quite, I suppose, responsible adult conversations with the coach and the clubs and the different environments they're in, to go, actually, this is one thing too many.
Yep.
I had a conversation with a player. She had 9 pitch sessions within a week as a under 15. I was like, oh, is any of that just technical or like slower sessions? She was like, no.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, right.
And you probably have factored in, she might play another sport, she might do other things, she's got music, whatever it might be, but it's not, we're looking at going just to hockey, but actually,
as well.
the whole bigger spectrum of things on there too.
I think there was a team I was working with a couple of years ago. There was one who was playing 6 sports at some sort of county level, and of course, and she was an incredibly good cricketer, so they wanted her in the winter as well as the summer. So there was no break in those. And I just remember that, like, one of the first games we played together, and I said, like, are you okay? She was like, I just feel pulled in 6 different directions. And actually, sometimes as a coach, well, what's the best thing that you can be to that person in that moment? And that we decided the best thing I can do is not be any trouble.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say then. If we're talking about individual development versus team performance, we've got an individual case there. What happens to the 15 other people within that squad, and getting them on board, and potentially thinking about, well, this person's not been at training because they're doing X, Y, and Z or whatever. Where does that sit in terms of our team performance? And I suppose there's probably multiple answers there based on the environments that you're in, whether it's club space where people are playing to win leagues and the combination of adults and juniors, whether it's a junior space or whether it's a talent development space.
Brett, I'm aware that you've given us your time in between events, actually, so I think we're just hitting the mark where we're going to have to say thank you to yourself. But listen, I think it's given all of us as coaches, I mean, certainly you're absolutely right, thinking about those different environments and sort of what we need to consider, not just as coaches, but also supporters of, I'm going to say young players, but also I'd say club players as well, and just understanding that commitment. And what can we do to find the successes in their individual journey, which is so much bigger than what we might see.
The biggest thing, and there's loads of analogies you do, but no one cares what you know until they know you care about them. And that's fundamentally the biggest thing, right? So you've got to connect with the player, you've got to learn about them, how you want to work with them, etc., etc. And then all these things will maybe organically start happening a little bit, but you can dig in a bit deeper about the IDP, you can dig in deeper what they want to work on and those kind of things, because that connection is the most important thing, first and foremost. And the real skill of coaching is, when does a player need that little bit of stretch, when do they need a little bit of support? And that could be with the teams you play with or whatever, but it could be in sessions. Actually, how do you put some more challenge on them? Individual constraints, individual challenges, it might be. It could be just the way you coach them. So are you just a bit firm with them in some sessions? Are you a bit easier on them in other sessions? What do they need at this different moment in time? If they're working on something, they might need a few more weeks just to kind of grapple with it. If you're trying to get them to be a bit more consistent with it, you might just push it a little harder. And that's it. So you got this season where you might have harder and lower moments, but individually within that, you want to see how you can then push and challenge in each individual player within it too. Yeah. But you got to learn about the player first and connect with them first, right?
Brilliant. Great advice. Thank you, Brett.